Ladies and gentlemen, OpenRouter and Codex CLI, how to set that up so you can use, so in your Codex CLI or in Codex, then you can use OpenRouter and the models that they have. Especially you can use how you can use the free models that it is actually provided by OpenRouter. Of course, you need to know that they are storing your prompts and also the output. They are saving that and they use that to see how they can make their models better. When you're using their free models, so don't of course use the free models when you have something that is for your business or something that is with some private data in it or something like that. But if you have a hobby project where nothing is a secret, then of course you can use this free option right here, and that's exactly what this video targets right here. Of course, you can choose to use this video plus then also pay for some tokens, and then you can use any other model. So the techniques right here, they work for both the paid models and for the paid service, and also for the free one right here. So we are using OpenRouter and Codex CLI. What does it take to get started with this setup right here? First of all, you need to install Codex CLI Force. So we install Codex CLI, then when we're done with that, then we create an account with OpenRouter, create account with OpenRouter. Force, this, you could probably guess these things yourself. And then the next thing is that then you have to create a token, create token at OpenRouter. So that is the third thing, and then the next thing again is that you need to find a free model. Find free model, or just find a model. You can also use free or /paid model right here. If you have the paid model, of course, then you need to add some money on your account, or you need to add sign up for one of the subscriptions that are available. I would recommend that you use pay as you go, then you can have more feeling with how much you actually are spending. Especially in the beginning. So then you do that, and then the next thing is, what do you do then? Then you find your config.toml file in your home folder. This is for Codex CLI. So in your Codex, then you have a folder named Codex, and then config.toml. So it's located right here, and then you need to set this one up, and you need to use the guide that OpenRouter has right here, and it's actually quite easy to follow. So it is really easy, and it just works out of the box. And what you need to do is you actually need to fill these values in that I'm showing you right here, and I've already done it, but I will show you how to do it. So here we have you set the model provider to OpenRouter. The reasoning effort, you can tweak that yourself. Try with medium instead of high. It's up to you. Then you can choose one of the models, and then instead of putting in this model that is proposed to you right there, choose one of the free ones to place in if you don't want to pay for it. And then you need to have this section right here which configures the OpenRouter models or provider, and then you just set the name right here, OpenRouter. There are no more needed settings. Yeah, we actually have a base URL that needs to be set right here. And then we have the environment key. The environment key is actually per default equal to OpenRouter API key. That means that you should place the API key that you're creating. So let us just go do that actually. I'm going to create a new API key. So this is OpenRouter, and this is my workspace. So I press API key on the left side, then I press create. Then I say something, demo. And credit limit, that is if you want to have a limit on how much you can actually use it with. So you can have different keys, API keys that where you have a limit on a threshold on the spending. So that is good if you have multiple use cases for your AI usage. Maybe you have Codex CLI, maybe you also have OpenClaw. You don't want OpenClaw to use all of it. It's slightly heavier because they tend to keep sessions longer. So then you can set an expiration time on it. I'm just pressing 1 hour right here because I'm using this for demo purpose. Then you get the token, create. You copy the token right here. You place that in that environment variable. You can also get a small code snippet so you can see how to actually code some Python against it if that's what you want to do. Here we have some code snippets right here, and here we have the Python or TypeScript or Shell, and then you can see that it's actually just a REST call, or it is a REST call. Yeah, where you can call it like this. So it is really easy to use, and it uses OpenAI's protocol. So that is cool with OpenRouter. But let us just jump to I'm using IntelliJ, and I'm coding Java right here right now. So I've opened config.toml, config.toml file right here, and you can see right here I've added this section right here, so I remember which part is where is the OpenRouter part, where it starts and it ends. And before I was using GPT-5.5, I still have a subscription for that, so I'm going to turn back to that when I'm done with this demo anyway. But right now I chose OpenRouter just to try it out, and then I used a high reasoning effect. And then I found this model right here. But Mike, how did you find this free model that you see right there? You didn't just come up with that value. I went to OpenRouter, and then you can press models. Let me just zoom out a bit to the normal. So usually it looks like this. Then you can search for models on OpenRouter, and then you can just write free, enter, and then you get all of the free. Then you get all of the free models right here. Then you can choose one of the free models. It could be GMF3 4B. That's a fast one. And then you can press this little button right here that says copy model name. And then when you have that name, then you go and then you place it in right here, and then you're happy. Or you're almost happy, because what you need to do is, if you already have a bash command or a shell, or maybe you have WSL running, or maybe you just have OpenRouter shell, or maybe you have PowerShell or whatever shell you're running, then you close your shell, you start it up again, start up Codex once again, and then I need to write manually right here because I've been playing too much around with my Codex plugin. Then you start up Codex right here, and then you can start asking it to code for you. I have this demo project right here where I am creating some pirates right here. You can see right now I have 5 pirates right here in a service. So if you're used to if you know Spring Boot and Java code, then this will be familiar to you. So what I want to do now is I want to move these to an enum instead, just to do something. So now I'm going to ask Codex, please move the pirate, the fixed pirate values to an enum, and add 5 more pirates to the application. And don't use pirates from known movies. Let's see what happens. And now we get a warning. This warning right here, it's actually a bug in Codex right now. As far as I read on Stack Overflow, you saw that it could not find the metadata for the model, and that's actually quite important, because then it does not work 100% well. Then it as it says right here, it degrades the performance when it cannot find the metadata. There was one workaround where they actually placed the metadata locally, and then you can configure the config.toml file, that is, you go look for the metadata locally, but that's it's not good. I hope they will fix it soon. It's a little bit annoying. But besides that, it's actually quite fast. So I guess the default settings that is putting on top of this model right here, they're not that bad actually. So then now it asks me, should I create a pirate rank enum for ranks? It asks me a lot of things right here, and I think any of these. Oh, I did not get. I can see the current structure, the pirates are defined in a fixed list, blah, blah. I'll create a plan and implement. Okay, so that is a plan. So it will create a new pirate rank, yes. We'll update pirate record to use the enum. Yes, thank you very much for that. And it will create a pirate registry enum with all of the pirates. Update pirate service to use the registry. Yes, that's exactly what I want. So now it's working on that, and it actually, I really like that it actually gives me the thought process behind it, and it also gives me the progress, because I get so impatient, especially if it's something like this where I could actually do this much faster myself. The problem with all of these AI agent tools right here is that as a developer, you just become more lazy. You just become lazier. whenever you want to do something really, really simple, create a new class or whatever, then you ask Codex or whatever, or Claude or whatever, your AI agent that you're using, code agent you're using, then you just ask that to actually create it instead of just pressing the shortcut key for new class and then write it yourself. And it also makes you a worse developer because you actually tend to forget the things that you're not typing yourself, and you don't have the overview. If you ask it to create a huge application or maybe a lot of code, and maybe you don't have time, or maybe you're just lazy, so you're not actually reviewing the code at all, which I of course think that anyone with some responsible mind should actually do. Of course, if it's a hobby project, then you can do whatever, right? But if it's something for a business or something, of course, then you need to review the code and see that it's scalable, and and especially the data model, you need to check that is as you would expect, and it's something that can be used in the future. So now it made a lot of code. It's not done yet, but there's actually an error right here. I think it will fix that. It's not done. A lot of times, yeah, that's actually one thing now that I am. Now that I'm swimming on my back to spend some time, that is actually inside your config.toml file. If you want to run just like I do, where it doesn't ask me for anything, it is allowed to do whatever it wants to do. Then you add approval policy never, and then you set sandbox mode to danger full access. It's not something you can read that is recommended by anyone, but this is if you don't want to get pop-ups. Of course, it's a bit risky especially when I'm playing around with different weird models. It is the WSL that it has access to, but still, it's not good. It would not be. Of course, it is okay on this computer that I'm using right here. But if it's something that you use for something serious, then you should not use this policy right here. But it's nice, and I don't have to press yes all the time, and I always forget to, or sometimes I go for coffee, and then when I come back, then I saw that it was actually it prompted me and asking me if it was okay to run the test just 10 seconds after I left the room, and that's really annoying. So that is why I enabled this right now, just to, do what you like, the Codex, and I trust you. And of course, trust is good, but verification is much better. Okay, let's see now. It is actually done, so I don't have to fill the empty void with empty talk right now. So let me just go look right now. Private rank. So we have some ranks right here. Yes, looks good. Then we have a private registry right here. Yes, and which fields we have a display name and a rank. Yes, it's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So that is really good. Now I'm ready to make a demo on some Spring Boot 4 stuff for another video. So that's it. You saw how easy it was to configure up. You just change this part in the top with your in your config toml file, and then you can actually run for free. Just make sure that if you want to use one of the free models, that you know that it's going to be recorded and used for training. And if you want to use, if it's for a serious purpose, maybe for your company or business, then of course do not use the free models. Use one of the paid models instead. It is also not that expensive. All taken into account. If you compare to, for instance, to software licenses in general, then you can keep it quite cheap still, and you can also change the reasoning effect. That could be low, or maybe medium, or maybe sometimes even off. Thank you very much for all of your comments. They make me very happy. It gives me energy to make more videos, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being you. And I hope that you will come back and watch another video another time. Bye bye.